All right. And we'll look at this and you will say, what is that? And I will say, this is the control panel for the drone. Because one of the things I want to address with these drones is the unbelievable power of the central processing unit. Why are they not exploring that? I mean, why not have a central processing unit that's running the drone and another server that's the backup and a third server that's the backup, and the second and third servers are watching the first one to be sure they're happy about it, and the first one is flying the plane with help or inputs from the pilot. And under the seat of the pilot is a fourth computer system, a completely functional emergency server that's not electrically connected to the drone at all. And it has a wire. And if he reaches back under that seat and pulls the wire out and plugs it into his control panel, that server assumes command of the drone. And that would be the server that he uses in case some electrical or something happened where the drone started being stupid. And what would happen is this other one would take over. It's a very simple one, very basic. It has been by Wi-Fi keeping up with the status of the drone, so it knows all about what's going on. And it has enough to it to let him get the drone back on the ground. And in there, under his seat, is a small little display screen if he needs it. Why not do that? Why does it have to be a fully qualified military pilot that can do anything? I don't mind that, but I think if they make that a requirement, what they're going to find with these drones is no one's going to want these drones because they can't go get the pilots. And why not make the drones smart enough that, not that there's something wrong with these people, but they're not fully trained military combat aviation pilots. They're just people that will fly this thing. And so let's let him go to the airport. Why is he at the airport? Because the airport requires that. And where is he? He's over here. These two can be configured. Exactly what they show depends upon what status he puts them in. So he puts one of them in taxi mode, and he taxis his way out to the end of the runway because the airport requires that. And there he is sitting on the end of the runway. He's got the right heading and everything. And the motors are on, and all the lights are, all numbers are nominal, and all lights are green. Everything is stable. Electrical looks good. Now these are actually LED screens, so this would show the voltage there and the current and the runtime. There would be numbers here. These are LED screens. And this shows engine turbine rotation speeds and how much power this engine is putting out. And so it's not blank like that. It'll have things showing. And these are warning lights. And this is his sort of right in the middle of it board. And if one of these warning lights goes off, it'll pop up here something about what's going on, and he can acknowledge it. Okay, and so he's sitting there on the end of the runway, and this is his rotors, and this is the tilt rotor, and that is on automatic control. So this is lit up, like it's got a little star here saying automatic control. And he's got permission to take off. And so what does he do? This is what's real, and this is what he asked it to do. This is at zero, that's at zero. This is whatever altitude he's at. Now this is above, he's got it set to above ground. So it's going to be showing zero because it's looking down at the runway. And this is the heading of the runway. And they're like, okay, you can go. And so he takes this knob and turns it. This is zero. And he turns it until it says 30. And there's just a vague little vibration. He can feel the engines and the power. And the drone shows 30. And what has happened? It's 30 feet in the air. Where is it going? Nowhere. It's got GPS. Does it have any airspeed? No. Is he keeping it level? No. Is he keeping the heading stable? No. He's not doing any of that. Why? Because he doesn't have to. The drone is under the control of the central processing unit. It's just 30 feet off the ground. And he's got permission to take off. So he takes his hand, this is at 0, and he turns it to 30. And he can't turn it beyond 30. These knobs don't have stops to them because he's on drone flying. And it won't fly any faster than 30 when he's on drone flying. And so the nose is pointed down the runway, and down the runway he goes, 10 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour, around 24 miles an hour. He takes his finger over here. By the way, what is he doing with the joystick? Nothing. It's not even on. When he reaches 24 miles an hour, he goes and turns on fixed wing flying by just pushing this switch to over there. These are momentary toggle. When he pushes it over there, this comes on. When he lets it go, this is back to here. So if this is lit up bright, bluish green color, and this one isn't, then he's on fixed wing. And he'll get a little note down here. Since his stall speed is 63 miles an hour, he'll get a notification. You are flying below your stall speed. Plane system will begin to fix this. And he acknowledges it by pushing this down and letting it go. And this until he acknowledges it, this kind of flashes every once in a while. And his airspeed will now start increasing under the control of the central processing unit. And what will happen to his altitude? Nothing. What will happen to his heading? Nothing. And when he gets up to 64 miles an hour, he'll get a notification. Fixed wing flying is fully enabled. And he's headed down the runway at 73 miles an hour, and he turns his airspeed up to 125. And what happens? His airspeed goes up to 125. Slowly. I mean, you can see it changing. And then he turns his altitude up to whatever the airport requires, 2,000 feet, 4,000 feet. As he turns it up, this is what it really is, and this is what he's asking for. And he just raises his altitude up and gets the airport behind him, and ATC will say, okay, you have a good flight. He says, all right. And he makes a left turn by turning the heading. So what has he done? He changed these 3 knobs. What else has he done? Nothing. And this is what I think we need to look at. I mean, it could be, I know this is going to have to be done with actually real pilots. But it's time, I think, to just take what central processing can do and do it. And he flies with these 3 things right here. If he wants to mess around with the joystick, he can, but he doesn't have to. And when it's time to land, he slows his airspeed down, and he'll get a message, you're flying too slow for fixed wing flying, and right around 40 miles an hour or so, he reaches up here and turns off fixed wing flying. And then it'll say you're flying too fast for non-fixed wing flying, and it'll bring this to 30 and slow him down. And he'll come up onto whatever he's going to land on, and when he gets over what he wants to land on, he turns his airspeed to 0, and it just stops. And he's 40 feet in the air, and he turns the altitude down to 0, and he's landed. Like I said, why not? We'll look at one other picture. All right, and so now we'll look at this. And you're like, what is this? This is the training facility. This is military. On the base, they tell someone on the base, a senior enlisted person that's motivated and intelligent, congratulations, you're now a member of our combat air operations. You're going to need to learn how to fly this drone. And remember, the purpose of this person who is the pilot of the drone is to manage the mission and have the drone doing what's supposed to happen so the mission can occur. He's not doing all this flying stuff. The central processing unit is. And this is it's a desktop thing that's sent in by the military or other civilian type things where it runs through pre-flight, it runs through maintenance, it runs through required maintenance, periodic maintenance, emergency maintenance. It runs through The ground crew people can sit here and learn how to talk to the plane, and it shows error messages, and it puts him through mission activities, and it puts him through trouble areas where things go wrong, and he has to manage it to the extent that he manages it. A lot of it's managed by the central processing unit, but he gets to see how the central processing unit manages it, and he gets to interact with the central processing unit when it says, do you want to do this or you want to do that with this emergency? And over here, what is this? This is what's sent. This is their simulator. And you're like, huh? What is this? It's just, what's it? Eight LED screens, big ones. And they sit in there and they roll this door shut. Okay. So they open the door up like this. These are LED screens. They go in there and sit down and they swing this shut, and they're surrounded by LED screens on all sides. And these LED screens show sort of what that would look like if you were in the plane looking outside. And why is it like this? Because this is something that the military could send overseas. This is doable. This is a server that runs this. Is it perfection? No, but it doesn't need to be. This helps him to learn how to take off and see, how to look forward, how to notice where his friendly people are, how when the radio tells him we're next to the large tree that's got a lot of green leaves on it, and he's like, still a lot of trees down there. Tell me something else. Or next to the road, and what road? And anyway, he learns how to fly and how to have an interaction between somebody that's up in the air and a group that's on the ground, and how to activate his weapon systems and all that stuff that's helpful to know, to have done before you have to do it for real. But in terms of all the complexities of flying the plane, that's not his job. And I don't know. I think all the pilots are going to be horror struck. But in exchange for this, you get to give combat air operations to an isolated small outpost in the middle of nowhere that they wouldn't have. So when something goes wrong, they don't have to call Central Command and hope there's a plane that can help them. They got one right there. They go find that guy and say, go down to the combat air operations area and get in your plane, because you got to go help somebody. So, and all I would say to this is this it's absolutely doable. Whether it's doable, safe, reliable, and appropriate, you would have to set it up with real actual pilots. There's the real pilot right there. And go through this and see. It could turn out that you can't do it. It just won't work. But I don't believe that. I think the central processing units have enough power to fly. First of all, with a drone, they're flying the drone anyway. He's not flying it. But they have enough power to get him through the mission and get him through an emergency, and also to do enough of the offloading of the flying work so that he can manage and coordinate and run the mission. And you can have combat air operations given to groups that would never, ever have that. I can imagine Central Command would have 4 drones. They put 2 people in one drone. They go up in the air. The other 3 drones go up in the air. There's nobody in the other 3 drones. And like the geese flying south for the winter, they fly off to the small isolated outpost. And the 2 that are in a plane circle, and the 3 that were with them land one by one at the base. And they say, congratulations. You now are an air combat operations base. And see you later. And they turn around and fly back to Central Command. Why not? I mean, the question, I think the answer should not be, the answer is this can't be done because it just can't be done. Which is different from, all right, we tried this and it was a total screw up. But what I think is going to happen is it works fine because of the amazing power of central processing units, of which we are using none of that. And now I think it's time to use it. All right, so those are the pictures that we wanted to look at. All right, well, we're running out of time for this video, so I will stop this video and then go and start again with the new video where we left off here. We're inside the little military hangar. That's the big drone. It needs 1,600 horsepower to take off. This is the little DARPA drone here. It needs 15 horsepower. It has a 148-pound payload. If you split it as 80 pounds of payload and 60 pounds of fuel, it could fly 180 miles, deliver the payload, and turn around and fly back. So I think that's pretty good. I do want to mention, of course, one more time, welcome and hello, and I'm glad you're here. I do have a YouTube channel. This is the URL link for my YouTube channel. I do have a website. The name of the website is pistonrobot.com. It has a menu. You can choose me talking about robots. That's this one, or discussions not about a robot. That's other topics that interest me. Under the discussions not about a robot is the DARPA Lift Challenge discussion, and you can click there for some stuff about this DARPA drone stuff I'm talking about. I do also like to always remind everyone any physically real object has the potential to do something that would hurt people or hurt stuff. And if you are managing a physically real item, it is my advice that you manage it in a manner that is legally allowed and reasonable and safe. And if you can't manage it in a manner like that, then my advice is do not create it as a physically real item. So we'll see you, and we'll be back with another video.